From Neural Newscast, this is your daily news briefing.
Welcome back to Neural Newscast, folks. I'm Samuel Reed, your weekend anchor. And today we're diving into a heartbreaking story out of Texas. Devastating flash floods have struck the Hill Country, particularly in Kerr County, leaving a trail of destruction and loss. I'm joined by our social justice reporter, Ayana Brooks, to help unpack this tragedy. Ayana, thanks for being here.
Thanks, Samuel. I wish we were talking under better circumstances. This is just a gut-wrenching situation. Over 50 lives lost, including 15 children, and the search is still on for dozens missing, many of them young girls from Camp Mystic. My heart goes out to all the families waiting for news.
Absolutely, it's hard to even fathom. Let's start with the latest updates. The floods hit in the early hours of Friday, July 4th, when the Guadalupe River surged an astonishing 26 feet in less than an hour. That kind of rapid rise is almost unimaginable. Ayana, what are we hearing about the scale of the damage?
It's catastrophic, Samuel. Entire communities have been washed away, homes reduced to foundations, vehicles and personal belongings tangled in uprooted trees. Camp Mystic, an all-girls Christian summer camp on the riverbank, was completely destroyed. I've read accounts from survivors like 13-year-old Eleanor Lester, who described the terror of waking up to raging waters and being airlifted out by helicopter. It's chilling to think about kids facing that in the middle of the night.
Yeah, those personal stories really hit home. I saw a report about another camper, Stella Thompson, also 13, who was on higher ground at Camp Mystic and safe from the worst of it. But even she talked about the numbness and uncertainty as they waited for news. She didn't even realize the full scope until military trucks evacuated her group and she saw the devastation. Trees down, campers' trunks caught in branches. It's haunting.
It really is. And beyond the camp, there are stories of incredible loss and bravery in the surrounding areas. I came across the story of Julian Ryan, a 27-year-old from Ingram, who punched through a window to save his fiancée, kids, and mother as water rushed into their home. Tragically, he injured an artery doing it and didn't make it. His family calls him a true hero. These are the kinds of sacrifices we're hearing about amidst all this pain.
That's just heartbreaking. And there are others too, like Erin Burgess, also from Ingram, who clung to a tree with her teenage son for an hour until the water receded enough to get to safety. Her son literally kept her alive. Ayana, these individual stories, they paint such a vivid picture of the desperation people faced. What's the latest on the search efforts for those still missing?
The search is ongoing and intensive, Samuel. Over 1,000 local, state, and federal personnel are on the ground, using helicopters, boats, drones, even heat-sensing equipment to find survivors in tough terrain. They've rescued over 850 people so far, including more than 100 airlifted out. But the focus right now is on finding the 27 girls still unaccounted for from Camp Mystic, along with other missing individuals. Folks like Greta Toranzo and Hadley Hanna, whose families are still waiting for any word. It's a race against time.
It sure is. And I know Governor Greg Abbott has declared tomorrow, Sunday, a day of prayer for the state, urging Texans to pray for the lost, the missing, and the recovery efforts. Ayana, let's walk through the timeline of how this unfolded. How did a holiday weekend turn into such a disaster?
Well, Samuel, the seeds of this tragedy were sown days before the flood hit. On Wednesday, July 2nd, the Texas Division of Emergency Management activated resources due to flood threats in West and Central Texas. The National Weather Service started posting about potential heavy rain in the Hill Country that evening. By Thursday morning, July 3rd, a flood watch was issued for Kerr County and surrounding areas, though the predicted rainfall, 5 to 7 inches, was far less than the 15 inches that ultimately fell in some spots.
Right, so there were early warnings, but the scale was underestimated. What happened as we got closer to the flood itself?
Things escalated quickly overnight. By midnight on Friday, July 4th, the National Weather Service upgraded to a flood warning, and by 1:26 a.m., they were predicting flash flooding with significant impacts. At 4:33 a.m., a flash flood emergency alert, a rare and urgent warning, was issued for Kerr County, followed by another for Kerrville at 5:34 a.m. That's when the Guadalupe River burst its banks, rising 26 feet in just 45 minutes. Many people were asleep, and even if they got the alerts, there was so little time to react.
That timing is just devastating. Middle of the night, no one's expecting a wall of water to come crashing through. I've seen some reports questioning whether the warnings reached enough people, or if staffing issues at the National Weather Service played a role. Ayana, what's your take on that?
It's a fair question, Samuel, and it's sparking a lot of debate. The NWS offices in Austin, San Antonio, and San Angelo, which handled the forecasts, did issue a slew of warnings despite some key vacancies, like a warning coordination meteorologist in Austin, San Antonio. Some argue that warning fatigue might be a factor in this region, known as Flash Flood Alley, where alerts are frequent and people might tune them out. Others point to the sheer unpredictability of the storm, months' worth of rain falling in hours, stalling over one spot. Even the best forecasts can't always nail that.
Yeah, and I've heard local officials like Kerr County Judge Rob Kelly say flat out, no one knew this kind of flood was coming. But then you have folks like AccuWeather saying their warnings should have given enough time to evacuate camps like Mystic. Ayana, do you think there's going to be a reckoning over the response, or lack thereof?
I do, Samuel. There's already finger-pointing, and what some call Monday morning quarterbacking. Parents are understandably asking why camps weren't evacuated sooner, why there's no comprehensive flood warning system along the river. Kerrville City Manager Dalton Rice mentioned the difficulty of evacuation decisions. Putting people on roads with low water crossings could be just as dangerous as sheltering in place. But for families who've lost loved ones, those explanations might not be enough. I think we'll see investigations into preparedness, especially as climate change makes these intense downpours more common.
That's a critical point. Climate change amplifying these disasters. We're seeing more rain, faster, in places that can't handle it. Ayana, let's talk about the human side of recovery. What are communities doing to support each other right now?
There's an incredible outpouring of support, Samuel. The Community Foundation of the Texas Hill Country has set up a relief fund, ensuring all donations go directly to frontline organizations helping with response and recovery. Stories of heroism are emerging too, like Emma Foltz, a counselor at Camp Mystic from Louisiana, who helped evacuate 14 campers to safety. And families like Stella Thompson's are urging people to keep praying for those still missing. It's a mix of grief and gratitude for those who've been reunited.
Gratitude amidst so much loss. It's a powerful thing. I keep thinking about Stella quoting the camp director, something like, "Love is not love until you give it away." That spirit seems to be carrying the Camp Mystic community through this. Ayana, what can our listeners do to help?
If you're moved to act, Samuel, donating to the Community Foundation of the Texas Hill Country is a direct way to support relief efforts. Their website has all the details, and every bit helps. Also, just spreading awareness, keeping these families in your thoughts and conversations. The search isn't over, and the need for support won't end anytime soon.
Well said, Ayana. We'll make sure to link to that relief fund in our show notes for anyone who wants to contribute. Before we wrap, any final thoughts on what this tragedy means for the bigger picture?
I think it's a wake-up call, Samuel. We've got to look at how we prepare for and respond to these increasingly frequent natural disasters, especially in vulnerable areas like Flash Flood Alley. It's about infrastructure, it's about warning systems, but it's also about community resilience. How do we protect our most vulnerable, like these kids at summer camp? That's the question I'm left with.
Couldn't agree more. It's a question we all need to grapple with. Folks, we'll keep following this story as recovery efforts continue in Texas Hill Country. For now, let's hold those affected in our hearts. Ayana, thanks for breaking this down with me today.
Thanks, Samuel. It's heavy, but I'm glad we could shine a light on it together.
Absolutely. That's all for this special report on Neural Newscast. I'm Samuel Reed with Ayana Brooks, and we'll be back with more updates as they come. Stay safe, everyone.
You've been listening to Neural Newscast, AI-powered, human-reviewed. Keep up with us on X, Bumble, and Facebook, and dive deeper at neuralnewscast.com. Neural Newscast fuses real and AI-generated voices for fast, quality news. AI creates, humans review. We aim for accuracy, but errors can happen. Verify key details. Learn more at newscast.com.